Welcome to a New Beginning podcast. I'm your host, Maureen Doyle. I'm a certified life coach, author, and coffee enthusiast. Did you know that at any moment you can create a new beginning in your health, relationships, career, or mindset? Each week, I will share simple strategies to transform your life and create new beginnings. Ready to start yours? Let's dive in. Let's talk about drama. Not the kind you see on stage or you binge on Netflix or Hulu, but the kind we create in our own lives and minds. Remember grade school or high school? There were always a few people who seemed to thrive on drama, making up stories and creating tension and spreading gossip and pulling others into just emotional whirlwinds. It seemed immature then, and yet, if we're honest, adults do the same thing. It just looks a little bit more sophisticated. Drama isn't just out there. It often lives inside us. External drama sounds like this. Did you hear what she said? My boss is clearly out to get me. Everyone is upset about this. And then meanwhile, the internal drama is the noise in our head. I'm never going to figure this out. They'll probably think I'm not good enough. This goal is impossible for someone like me. Well, both of these are exhausting. Both slow us down. And here's the truth. Drama is just a story. It's not a fact. So here's a little bit about our brains. Our brain is wired for survival, not clarity. The brain's default mode network is active when you're daydreaming or when you're ruminating. It loves to tell stories. And often, those stories have a lot of fear and comparison and self-doubt. And then add in our negative bias. That's our brain's tendency to notice what's wrong over what's right. And then you've got this perfect recipe for all this internal drama. But here's the good news. We also have our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the CEO of our brain, and it can interrupt this cycle. You can at any time redirect your thoughts. You can choose to see the facts without the drama. So when a client starts telling me a long, dramatic story, I'll often ask, what are the facts? Not something like, no one likes me, this is never going to work, and everyone is mad. But instead, what exactly was said? Who specifically is upset? Or what numbers are you seeing in your business exactly? Drama lives in generalities, but clarity lives in specifics. So here's another situation. Take a common goal like weight loss. One person will say, you know what, this is no big deal. I've got this. Another one will say, this is way too hard. I've tried it before. I'll never be able to do it. It could be the same goal, but a completely different energy and a completely different story. When you believe it is done, your brain engages the reticular activating system, the filter in your brain that begins scanning for evidence, looking for tools and opportunities to support any belief that you might have. But when you indulge in drama, you shut that system down. Then you stay in this emotional resistance instead of looking around for solutions. So one of my clients, an actor, recently shared with me that she was absolutely loving her new production, except for all the constant backstage drama with some of her castmates. There were stories about the director, and there were complaints about the stage manager, And then there were lots of whispers about all the other actors. It was exhausting. My client chose to opt out of the drama and avoid it completely because it was so heavy. It was so negative. It was unproductive, and it was really taking away her joy. You don't need to participate in the drama, in others, or also in your own drama. So here's something I want you to think about. If you are deep in a story, here's what it'll often look like. There'll be lots and lots of paragraphs and lots of emotions and catastrophic assumptions. But if you pause and instead name the facts only, it usually just takes 1 or 2 sentences. So try this if you find yourself spinning in a long and exhausting story. First, tell the story. Tell it completely. Get it all out. Get it all out with all the drama. Next, go back and look at that story again, but with only the facts. Circle the facts. You will notice that there's not many of them. And then finally, notice how much calmer and more empowered you feel when you're just looking at the facts. And then from there, you can take clear and focused action. So here's a few questions that I love to ask my clients when they're stuck in a dramatic situation. And you might want to give this a try yourself. Again, ask yourself, what are the actual facts? When you look at the story, ask yourself, what am I making this mean? Another good question is, what's in my control? And also, is this an assumption or do I know this to be true? And what do I want to believe? So, especially during emotionally charged times, like a divorce or a business challenge, I offer this to my clients. Don't make decisions from a dramatic state. Drama activates your limbic system, the emotional part of your brain, which hijacks your logic and clarity. Instead, I encourage my clients to approach challenges like a business transaction. Get out of the emotion and get into strategy. And with a divorce, I always tell them to get out of the emotion of divorce and get into the business of divorce. You can let yourself feel the emotions, especially with something like divorce, all of the sadness, the disappointment, the frustration, the anger, but don't stay there. Move on and then focus on the facts. You always have a choice: drama or clarity, assumptions or truth, emotionally driven reactions or fact-based responses. Drama really burns up energy, but clarity will fuel your action. So this week, ditch the drama. Always come back to the facts and save your energy for joy, for creativity, for growth, for all of the good stuff. You've got a powerful mind, so use it to create your future and not complicate your present. Have a beautiful, drama-free week, my friends. Talk to you next week. If you enjoyed this podcast, check out my free workbook, 6 Secrets to Getting Anything That You Want. Head over to maureen-doyle.com/6secretsguide to pick up your free copy today.